to the February 26th open board session. Can we all please stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Thank you. We'll start with the Executive General Manager report.
Okay, tonight's good evening, or good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My report's going to be a little different this month. What we have today is we have Dennis Burke, who is from Fiore, Rakups and Powers, the attorneys for the association. This is the attorneys that actually work for the board, not First Service, but for the board of directors. And he's going to talk about the email blast that went out February 5th regarding the claims that the association must have 5 board members. So we brought Dennis here to talk about that, to follow up on that e-blast. So with that, I turn my mic over to Dennis. Welcome.
Thank you, Chris, and thank you, board members, and thank you, members. It's nice to be out here. My name is Dennis Burke. I'm with the law firm of Fiore, Rakups and Powers, and we've been providing your association with General Counsel Legal Services for a long time now. When I first started working for you guys, I didn't qualify to live here, but now I do. So that's how long it's been going on. But I wanted to real briefly address some of the concerns that have been going around amongst the community. One, about having a vacancy on the board. It's okay to have a vacancy on the board, so long as you have enough board members left to establish quorum. As long as you can establish quorum, the association board can still function. And then the process about filling a vacancy, there's multiple ways it could happen. Sometimes a board can fill a vacancy on the board. Other times the board will defer to the members and let the members cast their vote on instructing a delegate on how to fill that vacancy on the board. And that's what your board has done with this existing vacancy. They've used the double envelope secret ballot process by which the members have a chance to instruct their delegate on how to cast the members' vote for filling that vacancy on the board. There's a little bit of a disconnect between the current state law, Civil Code Section 5100 through Civil Code Section 5145, and how that applies to your 1987 bylaws. But the process you guys have been following since at least 2006, to my knowledge, is that the members vote, and that vote cast by the members uses the double envelope secret ballot process. That vote instructs the delegate. When the delegates vote, they vote the way they've been voting since 1987. They're not following that double envelope secret ballot process. But the membership vote to instruct that delegate does have to follow that process, and that's a minimum 60-day time period. So that's what's going on. Nothing, I think, nefarious. It's just this board has decided to let the members instruct their delegates on how to fill the vacancy. So the vacancy will be filled, assuming you get quorum, at your upcoming annual meeting, and you're in the middle of the process for that. Now, I think I arranged with Chris that, I'll stay through the meeting, and there might be a Q&A session later on. Right now, yeah, okay, well then I'll do that right now. So, yeah.
Yes.
I'm also happy to stick around and talk to any of the members off camera or off mic if they... if they want to talk about that. Yes, ma'am. Let's share the mic.
Good afternoon, board members, FSR, and fellow citizens. So my question to the attorney is, we have bylaws, right?
Yes, you have bylaws.
And are those bylaws to be obeyed?
Not when they conflict with state law.
Okay, and how do they conflict with state law?
So, any other questions?
Go to the microphone.
Any other questions?
No, because what I'm going to suggest to you is I've read the law that you're referring to, and what's interesting is the law you're referring to does not apply to communities where the voting is done by delegates, okay, which is our community. So I wonder, and then the next thing is, civil law can override our bylaws. I believe I should obey the laws that are established here in Sun Lakes, okay? If we see the board not obeying the bylaws and you say, oh, that's because we can get them off of it.
Is
Okay.
there a question?
Yeah, the question is how are they going to enforce the law in the HOA when they're not obeying it themselves?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, now I've got two mics. So the double envelope secret ballot process where the members instruct their delegates, that's been the law in California since 2006. So we're 18 years into the statute, and you guys have been following that all along. There is a provision in the statute, Civil Code Section 5100, that says that this double envelope secret ballot process doesn't apply to votes cast by delegates. But the immediately preceding phrase says that it does apply to votes cast by the membership. So your bylaws call for the members to be given an opportunity to instruct the delegate on how to cast that member's vote. So you have to follow that bylaw provision. There's no superseding statute that takes its place. And the only way to do that here in California for election of directors is following the double envelope secret ballot process. And that, unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, is a longer process. You can no longer have a delegate vote, a membership vote, in less than 60 days. So the bylaw provision about having an election, a delegate election to fill a vacancy within 10 to 30 days after the 15-day period from the vacancy, there's no way to comply with that particular provision and still follow state law and still give members their bylaw and state law right to instruct their delegate. You'd have to skip the instruction step to follow that bylaw provision, so you'd be violating another bylaw provision and you would be violating state law. So, like I said, I'm happy to stick around and stand in the back if anyone wants to talk to me about this stuff. That'd be great. Any questions by the board?
No, so basically what you're saying is that the state law takes precedent over our bylaws.
Yes, in this particular, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. That's why I went to law school, and that's how I put my kids through college. I was telling everyone, sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure I'm right on this one.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Now for the rest of the general manager report.
Good afternoon, everyone. This report will give the community an update on actions that were taken by the board at their meetings that were held on February 12th, February 24th, and February 26th, at which time litigation, member discipline, formation of contracts, and personnel matters were discussed. With member matters, the board approved F&B and golf receivables as of January 31st, as well as the assessment account receivables as of January 31st. The board approved the delinquency report. The board reviewed 2 show cause hearings. The board reviewed 2 parking variance requests. The board met with 3 members on a variety of topics. The board reviewed the usage of the display cases in the hallway. The board reviewed 3 requests for a payment plan. The board reviewed 1 request for a golf refund, and the board reviewed a request for a fee waiver. With legal, the board reviewed and approved the executive session minutes from January 22nd and February 12th. The board received several updates from legal. The board approved the continuation of a foreclosure, and the board approved to send the following accounts to the collections attorney and to foreclose on the lien and record the notice of default on the following: APN 440-062-019, APN 419-391-021, APN 440-142-005, and APN 440-133-021. The board also discussed updating the ABC license with the names of the new board members. The board approved all candidates to list their meeting dates, and the association would post them on Facebook and on the website. With formation of the contracts, the board received updates from the management company on several items. The board received and filed the project activity report. The board received and filed the investment activity report. The board received and reviewed and approved the January through February narrative and analytic reports from Securitas, and these will be placed on the website. The board discussed repurposing the lobby bar or the Cheers bar. The board discussed air balancing in the main clubhouse. The board reviewed a report from the sound engineer and will be meeting with him this coming week. And that's for the acoustical sound in the lounge. The board met with Spectrum and Frontier regarding bulk cable. The board reviewed RFPs for tree trimming on the golf course and awarded it to Integrity Golf. The board approved the restriping of speed humps throughout the community. The board approved the contract with Securitas for 2025. The board approved the replacement of AV items at the main, north, and south clubhouses. The board signed a contract with CCL for management of the F&B operations. The board approved and replaced batteries for the rental carts for golf. And the board approved replacing informational signage throughout the community. That completes the report of the executive session actions.
Thank you. Next is sub-association. Any sub-association reports? If not, delegate assembly.
Good afternoon. My name's Cal Martin. I'm here on behalf of the District Delegate Assembly. Last month I got up and told you guys about this wonderful new ad hoc committee we created to go ahead and look at the sunlakes.com website and, try to refine it, try to make it better. And then things happened. And because of the coming of the CCL Hospitality Group, they'll have another set of software that's deployed. We've disbanded that for the moment. We will take it up when the software is deployed from the new partner that we have, and once that's done and we can assess more fully the impacts to the community, we'll again try to convene that little committee and see where we might offer suggestions of improvement. That's all that's about. At the January workshop, we worked on a number of different issues. Mostly we worked on trying to get a better integration between EPAP and district delegates. District delegates have a certain number of responsibilities under the EPAP plan, and it's good that everybody knows about those. So we have spent a fair amount of time. The thing that is really most problematic in trying to make that system work well, because it's a really well-designed system, is that there's not enough people that want to be part of it. And we truly need, all you guys out there in TV land, if you have any inclination to be part of EPAP, just raise your hands and step forward, because we could really use your help with that. The next item is that we are currently involved in the election process, and part of that historically here has been the Meet the Candidate Forum, which will take place here in the ballroom on March 5th. At 4 o'clock, we have a panel from the Delegate Assembly that will review questions for appropriateness and then pass them forward and generally participate in all aspects of that particular evening. The delegate panel is comprised of Jean Dobson, Linda Spalding, Dolores Doherty, Gail Billick, Marcia Midget, and Dave Miller. That's in no particular order, but I thank them for their service for this event. In addition to the previous format, we're trying to refine it a little bit, make it a little bit better each time. So this year is somewhat different in that we've categorized 3 to 5 different categories, and we're actually asking people to submit their questions under each of those topics, because when the questions are drawn for the candidates up front, we will draw them from revolving categories, so we don't spend an inordinate amount of time on one particular topic or category. And we also added the ability for, again, people that cannot appear for that particular night but want to submit a question. You can now do it via email. You can send that email to sunlakesforum@gmail.com. Those will be all collected the morning of the Delegate Assembly and combined with the ones that are submitted here live at night. And then they will be categorized and checked to make sure that everybody has a fair shot to answer the question, and then moved up front. And that's all I have. Thank you much.
Thank you. Thank you. Next is the City of Banning update.
I think that should be 5 minutes. 5 minutes, please. Oh, okay, great. Okay, good afternoon to the board and to the residents of Sun Lakes. I'm Sherry Flynn, your mayor, Banning, and I have some things to bring up, but the main thing was we had a city council workshop last night, which was a review of the agreement with the California Board of State and Community Corrections, BSCC, for the Proposition 47 State Neighborhoods and School Grant Program. The project summary I'm going to read quickly. Many of you probably don't know about this. The City of Banning will implement the Banning Reentry and Community Safety Project, a new project aimed at reducing recidivism of formerly incarcerated individuals by addressing substance abuse and mental health disorders, homelessness, and other factors. The project will provide a full wraparound service to 900 recently released inmates from Larry J. Smith Correctional Facility, the county jail. The project will, 1, integrate project navigators into prison pre-release planning, 2, provide a warm handoff when inmates are released to coordinate services, 3, connect clients with housing, substance abuse, and mental health services as soon as they are released and provide intense navigation and follow-up, and 4, provide housing, workforce training, jobs, and other supports. The City of Banning will partner with the county jail, and 3, community-based organizations, 1, North Shore Community Church, 2, Step Up on Second, and 3, Salvation Army to implement the proposed project. So Smith Correctional Institute is a 1,600-bed jail. It's the largest one in Riverside. They have 50,000 inmates that rotate through the Banning facility per year. There's a 41% recidivism rate, and 35% suffer from mental and health substance abuse problems. On October 22nd, 2024, the City Council adopted this grant. It's a $7 to $8 million grant from the Corrections Institute, and it was on the agenda at that time as a consent item. It was not discussed by the council. It was passed as a consent item. It was a short staff report and a half-page resolution. The new council came in and wanted to take a look at this. We have a new city attorney, a new city manager, and we have 3 new council members. So this is what this workshop was about. And something interesting is the city, in their grant administration management from 2015, states that the city will seek grant funding for activities that are determined to further city functions or that provide activities which are in the best interest of the city residents. The city will examine the benefits of grant funding prior to application and decline funding determined not to meet the above criteria, that of being in the best interest of the residents. The grant has not received any money yet. Has not been funded, and no money has been expended by the city. Their North Shore Community Church is one of the CBOs listed, and in researching this, a requirement is that they be a charity that has an EIN number and is listed with Secretary of State, the IRS, and the Attorney General's office, and this is required, and they are not. The last time they were formed was 2011. So the other one, Step Up on Second, is actually based in Santa Monica, but they are in a lawsuit for fraud with the state and with Rob Bonta for breach of contract, specific performance. They absconded with $114 million. And had 7 projects and never completed one, and they all went into foreclosure. So because of this, this grant is not viable, and we are going to be, I'm setting up a special meeting on Monday at 10 a.m. in City Hall. You're welcome to come, and we are going to discuss rescinding this grant. So that is that. And then also, I just want to let you know that Robert Fisher is our new interim city manager. He's been with the police department, he's a lieutenant and a detective, and did oversee the animal shelter at one time, and he's been with the city for 30 years. And Doug Schultz, the previous city manager, is on paid administrative leave indefinitely. And we also instituted a fire hydrant maintenance program. So that is something that I spearheaded, and we approved it last night, and we're gonna have checks every 1 to 2 years for every fire hydrant in the city. They're going to have GPS. They're going to know where everyone is. They're going to check everyone. They're going to any repairs that need to be done, and that's due to the fires that we had. And in Sun Lakes, I think a lot of these haven't been checked in 30 years, 20 to 30 years. So that's very positive. They acted very quickly on that, and that's a really good thing. So I can give more information tomorrow. The district delegate is having, I think, 5 p.m. in here. And I will speak more on these issues, and you can come and ask your questions. No? Oh, you're shaking your head no. Just wondering. So come tomorrow at 5 p.m. and ask your questions, and I will have a lot more information to give you. 5 minutes is not enough, but thank you very much.
Thank you. I think there may be a confusion over the location of that event, because I was previously advised it's in the multipurpose room. So I guess it depends on how many people show up, and if this is available, then we can switch it over if it is available. Thank you. Bingo Advisory Committee? Common area?
Thank you. 3 quick things. First of all, I want to thank operations and everybody involved with painting the speed humps and some of the stop sign areas. They were getting pretty dangerous, and I'm pretty happy that you can actually see them again. It's almost springtime, so a lot of the growth around the community are going to flourish, and all of the cutting and maintaining of those are on a schedule. So if yours isn't cut day one of when you think it's sprung big enough for it to be fixed, don't cry all the time. Just wait a little bit. Everything's on a schedule, and it rotates through. You might be the first one, you might be the last one, but that's all there is to it. So, thank you.
Thank you. EPAP?
Everybody needs one of those.
Good afternoon, Master Board, FSR, and fellow residents. My name is Candace Jenkins, and I'm doing the report for EPAP. As you all know, we've been actively recruiting volunteers for the last 3 years. I have been associated, for the last 3 years that I have been associated with EPAP. We have had little to no success. There are currently 8 districts that do not have EPAP coordinators. Many of the EPAP volunteers are taking on multiple tasks. Zone captains are checking on several zones in their districts. EPAP coordinators are also taking on the task of MRT or zone captain. For this reason, the executive team has decided to go into what we call survival mode. We will focus on our core competencies. We will continue to do our monthly radio checks to ensure that we have communication as needed in an emergency. We will do our annual drill in October. We will continue our EPAP 101 on the second Thursday of every month in the main clubhouse, the multipurpose room. We still need our residents to be prepared for disasters. We will assist all districts as needed. The executive team is currently looking into ways we may better utilize the current volunteers. We have many residents that do not want to volunteer but have said they will help if they are here. So we are looking into ways that we might be able to incorporate them into our volunteer program. Thank you.
Thank you. Finance Advisory Committee? Mary Jo?
Thank you. Good afternoon, board, management team, and fellow residents. My name is Mary Jo McElwain, and I am chairman of the Finance Advisory Committee. First of all, I'd like to congratulate the board, and particularly to Don Day, Gary Burkle, and Steve Ron Roche for their time and efforts to bring a truly qualified new food and beverage company to serve our community. Our FAC committee was presented an overview of the proposal and overwhelmingly voted in favor of this new company. Expect some exciting changes for the upcoming months. Its middle name is Hospitality, and we encourage everyone's support. Back to finances. Our committee is in the process of creating tools to assist in evaluating performance to the budget in comparison to the previous year. We're also researching how to improve the reporting of reserve spending. We want to assist the board in determining the needs of the community and the reporting to the residents. Our reserves as of December 31st were $12,443,000, which is 66.4% of the fully funded balance, and that's considered medium range. The estimate for reserve expense this year is set at $3,265,000, and there are a lot of factors to consider. We continue to have questions on our financial reviews and will be sending the management team our analysis. Again, if you have knowledge of accounting, budgets, income and expense statements, we could use your help. Our next meeting is March 19th at 2 p.m. in the multipurpose room. Join us and ask questions. And thank you.
Thank you. Golf Advisory? Mike?
Good afternoon. I'm Mike Callahan, Chairman of the Golf Advisory Committee. Over the past year, Sun Lakes has experienced extreme environmental conditions, going from a hot, dry summer to low moisture, windy conditions that were not ideal for turf growth. This caused an increase in summer water costs for irrigation and lower germination rates for fall overseeding. The board has approved a new chemical treatment to improve our soil chemistry and the permeability to make irrigation much more efficient. Several golf courses are already using this product and have reported very good results, and we should see some noticeable effects in 3 to 5 months. With the arrival of spring, golf maintenance is busy applying treatments to the turf in advance of our summer season. This includes applying a pre-emergent to control weeds and prevent seed germination of invasive kikuyu grass in unaffected areas. It is also the time to apply fertilizer to promote growth of dormant Bermuda, which is within our mixed grass that we have on the golf course areas. It's also time to, with these treatments, they apply a tinting agent. The purpose of this tinting is to help absorb and retain heat, not to dye the turf. For the past 2 years, tree maintenance on the golf course has been done by Integrity Arborists. They are experienced golf course arborists who are licensed to perform the kind of work needed on our mature golf course to reduce safety risks. The feedback regarding this trimming program the past 2 years has been very positive from golfers and residents. Additionally, it has greatly reduced the time needed by golf maintenance for course cleanup following wind events. This allows the mowers to get out quicker and reduces the risk of damage to the equipment from fallen twigs. So at this point, on behalf of the GAC, I was going to encourage the board to approve the tree maintenance contract. But I see they took action on it this morning, and would like to thank you, especially on behalf of those residents who live on the golf course.
Thank you. Library?
I'm John and Library Committee Chairman. We have put hardback novels in all 3 libraries. We added health and wellness to South. We're keeping books 20 years or younger in the libraries to span the selection. And we had labeled the copyright year on each book, so when we get out the older books, we don't have to go inside and look. And there will be wealth and wellness and inspirational in all 3 libraries. And we pulled out duplicate books and for the book sale, and books that be for the book sale. All books will have a color-coded sticker on the spine of the book. Each category will have its own color. For example, romance will have pink and stickers and other colors for the other genres. And so they're easily identified. A classic section will be added to the North Clubhouse Library with 25 books initially. There was one at one time. Library committee members will do a round robin where they take turns and take the books to the appropriate library. And so it's looking, I got a lot of confidence about how the libraries looks and how they all look. And I'm very happy that everybody's happy with the way we're setting up the libraries in all 4 libraries. What else? The book sale will be at the front entrance here outside for the craft fair. We're pulling books for the book sale now. In the North Clubhouse, we'll always still have biography, military, and sports, and nonfiction. So that's it.
Thank you. Next is lifestyles. Linda?
Hello there. Linda Vieira from the Lifestyles Advisory Committee. When I pulled out my lifestyles to show you, I accidentally pulled out the January one with those magnificent snow-covered mountains. And you know, we walk every morning and look at those mountains, and boy, have those melted away so fast. What a shame. Anyway, this is Lifestyles for February. Lifestyles magazine is the resource most residents use to find out what's going on in our community. At 80-plus pages, it includes pictures from residents, plus articles from the Master Board, Delegate Assembly, First Service, the restaurant, Golf Pro, and all the advisory committees. Clubs and groups send articles and photos about their activities to sunlakesnews@yahoo.com by the 6th of each month. The Lifestyles Advisory Committee meets on the 7th of each month, unless otherwise specified, to review and edit the articles that are submitted for each month's issue of the magazine. We meet with Master Board Liaison Beverly Simmons, Assistant General Manager Jason Ewalls, and Recreation Manager Linda Vang to keep updated about events coming in our community. We also publish want ads and for sale items from residents at no cost, and hide a monthly joke for residents to find. Responses to our Get the Joke contest are put in a hat, and the winner is randomly drawn, earning a restaurant gift card as a prize. Our publisher, Courtney Taylor, stands behind all paid ads in the magazine from vendors. And if a resident has a negative experience with one of them, she will leave no stone unturned in order to satisfy the resident. Photographs taken by residents of areas within Sun Lakes are used on the magazine cover. We also post pictures of residents on their vacations or of their beloved pets. If you're good at proofreading and are interested in joining us, please fill out a volunteer application form that you can get in the main clubhouse lobby, and we'll put you on our waiting list. We currently have the maximum for our committee, but we welcome anybody to fill out an application to be on our waiting list. Thank you.
Thank you. Marketing Advisory Committee?
Good afternoon, Master Board, FSR, fellow residents. My name is Michelle Walter, and I am the Marketing Advisory Committee Chairperson. Our meeting was yesterday, February 25th. I want to make sure you don't forget the Employee of the Month. There are slips of paper in the lobby, restaurant, lounge, and sandwich for residents to fill out to select an employee whom they feel should be recognized for their job performance. Our next welcome home is April 24th at 5 o'clock in the ballroom. If any clubs or groups would like to have a table, please contact me. This is a great way to get to know our new residents and possibly get new members for your clubs and groups. The following are the stats on the home sales in Sun Lakes from February 1st through the 25th. Active or coming soon, 58 homes. 9 condos, prices from $325 to $387. 49 homes, prices from $335 to $575. In escrow are 18 right now. 3 condos, prices from $348 to $389. 15 homes, prices from $281,700 to $549. Closed escrows, 2 condos, prices from $255 to $265. 14 homes, prices from $320 to $590. So if you take our 2310 times 16 that close, that's $36,960 that's going into our reserve fund. The marketing committee is working on banners for the sandwich. If your club or group is interested in having a banner in the sandwich, please let me know. If you have a logo, we can create a banner for your club or group for a nominal fee. The banners will be 30 by 24 and displayed hanging from the ceiling in the sandwich. All clubs and groups are welcome, not just the sports clubs. Also, if anyone is interested in being on the marketing committee, which we absolutely need some people right now, we'd love for you to join us. All you need to do is fill out a volunteer interest form and return it to Tammy Morgan. Our next meeting is March 11th, 1 o'clock in admin. Thank you.
Thank you. That's the architectural.
Good afternoon, Master Board and residents of Sun Lakes. I would like to tell you that painters are now available to do any painting you want to do. We have completed our survey of homes that haven't been painted or should have been painted, and now we're moving to the second stage, which is issuing violations for those who received a notice to paint and did not do so. And I would assure you, to the best of my knowledge, we do not have any fluorescent yellow or purple houses in Sun Lakes. It's that time when yards are getting out of shape, when we think about replanting. We may have some trees that were great when they were young, but they've grown older. Roots are becoming a tripping hazard, or maybe winds would blow them down on your house or a neighbor's house. It's time to get those repaired and fixed. One other thing to remind all of you of, and that is our rules and regulations say that garages are places to park your cars and your golf carts, not on the street or the driveways. So please remove the junk from your garages and park your cars and your golf carts in the garages. Thank you.
Thank you. Recreation?
Hello. My name is Evelyn Hawkins, and I'm the vice chair of the Recreation Committee. We have several things coming up. March 21st and 22nd is our spring craft fair, and that is a real popular event. If you haven't attended, you ladies will find some homemade items that are just really delightful. We fill up this ballroom, and there's a lot of people that come and buy the residents' wares. We only have 4 tables left, so if you don't have your table yet and you'd like to attend, please see the Recreation Department.
It's $25 for both days, and that is for, like I say, for both days, and there's no cost to attend, so everybody gets in free. April 4th is our Switchback concert, and we have had a large demand to have them back. Their award-winning duo of Brian Fitzgerald and Martin McCormick. They play Celtic music and original Americana songs that reflect their Irish heritage and Midwestern roots. And tickets are on sale for $15 each, and you can see Chelsea at the desk to get the tickets for that. Seating is assigned. This is new. This came after much discussion and a lot of controversy, but the committee feels that this is really the way to go. It was very successful. When you buy a ticket, it will have a seat number on it, and that's the only seat you can sit in. You can't go change. You must sit in that seat. And it worked beautifully. We worked hard to cover it, and it really did work well. So please know that it'll make things work a lot more comfortably for the people who come. The seating, the doors open at 6 and the show starts at 7 for that concert. And you will have an assigned seat, and it really did work. It's just some of you, I don't know, where did we get cheaters here? But people seem to want to, switch things. April 25th is going to be our health fair, and the health fair event is hosted by Jennifer Partridge from the VNA Care. It's going to be here in the main ballroom from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., and there's no cost to attend. Door prizes are available, and blood pressure will be taken, vaccines will be available, senior resources information will be available, and life insurance information will be available. So please come and attend to our recreation events. We want to see you there.
Thank you very much. Next is RV storage.
Good afternoon, Board, FSR, and residents. My name's David Puckett. I'm the chairperson for the RV storage lot. I have a short report, but a good one. We had our committee meeting last week and discussed various topics of the RV lot. In conclusion, everything's going well in the lot. No incidents in quite a while, and that's good news. Recently, we had a lot of movement in the lot with leasees selling their RVs or moving them out. This has caused an exhaustion of our wait list we have, except for the large pull-through spots. We currently have 8 spots available from 25 to 33 feet. If anyone needs a spot, please contact Julie Jacobson in the administration office. Also, I wanted to make a note that we've been running some ads on the Good Day Sun Lakes and also email blasts, letting people know that we have spots available. A lot of people are assuming that we always were full. We were always full, but now we have a lot of spots. So if anybody needs a spot, please contact Julie in the administration office. And that's all I have to report. Thank you.
Thank you. Restaurant and lounge?
Bob, I have a report that was submitted to me by them. So I will go ahead and give myself 3 minutes, and I will read that. Okay. The overall sales for January amounted to $120,278.48. The overall covers were $5,568. The average amount spent per cover, including banquets, was $21.60. Here are the percentages per area of revenue for the food and beverage operation. Banquets, 24.6%, beer, 8%, food, 40.6%, liquor, 14.8%, and other beverages, 3.2%, and wine, 8.8%. As you can see for January, the banquet sales were the highest percentage of sales. The monthly averages for January on all other areas of the food and beverage operation were down over the 2024 averages. Until we as members support this amenity, we will be taking the loss in the food and beverage department each month, no matter what management company is running it. Please do your part and visit any of the venues at least once a month. Coming up in March, we have some days, specials. First one is March 9th, and that is National Crab Meat Day. Next one is March 14th, which is National Pie Day. And they will be serving turkey pot pie and beef and Guinness pie, as well as apple, pumpkin, and pecan pies. March 17th, St. Patrick's Day, corned beef and cabbage, which is a classic Irish-American dish featuring tender corned beef served with steamed cabbage and potatoes, as well as green-themed desserts. Please check your email blasts and Facebook pages for additional information on these events. And that concludes the report.
Thank you. Safety Advisory?
Good afternoon, everyone, board, management, and residents out there at Sun Laker Land. My name is Michael Voles. I'm chairman of the Safety Advisory Committee, and I have a interesting report for you, I think. Trespassers into our community will always be an issue to be addressed. Patrol has been very responsive to calls from residents regarding suspicious activity. Both the Safety Advisory Committee and Securitas strongly encourage all residents to implement preventative measures to deter any possible thefts. This includes locking doors and windows when away from your residence, installing lighting in dim or dark areas around your home, keeping garage doors closed, and remaining vigilant. If you see something, say something. Your first call should be to the Banning Police Department and then call the main gate to report what you see. Patrol will respond quickly. Securitas has responded to multiple calls involving residents who have fallen or required immediate assistance. In many instances, the fire department has been dispatched to provide aid, sometimes needing to forcibly enter a residence when access was not available. To ease access in these situations, we ask residents to update their emergency contact information through administration, security, or their district delegates. Listing a neighbor as an emergency contact can also be helpful to those who live alone. Some district delegates have taken the initiative to check in on residents who do not have immediate family nearby, ensuring their well-being on a regular basis. Residents should have their emergency contact information readily accessible to facilitate a swift response should an incident occur. An evacuation map has been created and is readily available to all Sun Lakers at the administration building. The map outlines which gates each district should use in the event of an emergency, and it is color-coded for easy reference. This has been distributed in district newsletters, text blasts, and on the Sun Lakes website. If you don't have one, go to administration building and get one. It'll be very helpful. It's important that all residents are prepared in the event of a real-time evacuation order. Being familiar with these designated evacuation routes will streamline evacuation efforts and reduce confusion during an emergency. In collaboration with EPAP and emergency personnel, Securitas will play a critical role in maintaining traffic control and ensuring gate accessibility in an orderly evacuation. Community preparedness is a key to enhancing safety. Remember, keep your dogs on a leash, keep your garage doors closed, drive defensively, obey speed limits, and please stop at stop signs.
Thank you very much. Next is the consent agenda. If we can have First Service read the consent agenda.
Okay, on the consent agenda for this evening, there are two items. One is a resolution to record liens, and the other is the approval of the January 22nd, 2025 open session minutes. For the liens, I will read the accounts that are listed on that report. Ednan, take care of the microphone, please. Okay, with that, let's go with account. These accounts are on the resolution for the board to approve on the consent agenda for a lien to be processed in compliance with the collection policy adopted by the association. Account 0051-02, 0114-02, 0316-01, 0460-01, 0546-01, 0853-01, 0980-02, 1290-02, 1335-02, 1453-01, 1789-02, 1873-01, 1976-01, 2959-03, 3169-01, 3228-03, 0019-02, 1402-01, 1467-01, 1602-02, 1917-01, 2898-01, 3292-03, and 0691-03. Those items are on the consent agenda for the board to approve, Mr. President.
Thank you. Any board member wish to pull any item from the consent agenda? If not, I need a motion.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passes 4-0. Next is the financial report for January.
Hello, everyone. I'm Gary Burkle, your treasurer, and this is the report on the January financial statements. And actually, January turned out to be a fairly good month for the association. Actually, we had a surplus in January of $141,952. So actually, we're obviously starting off the year on a positive note, and I hope that continues. At the end of January, the operating fund cash account, I remind you that we have 3 funds. The operating fund is where all the business activity or all the maintenance activity, day-to-day operations occurs. It's our checkbook, basically. At the end of January, we had $593,931 in the operating fund checking account. As you've heard me say in the past, our position sort of cash relative to bills is still not good, although with the income for January, it actually improved. It actually improves, and I've said this before, since I've been here in this chair for 2 years now, and usually in January and February, or even starting in December, we get a boost of cash in because our golfers pay their annual dues, and believe it or not, some residents pay their whole HOA for the whole year in January. That must be nice. Well, it's nice for us because we get the money. At the end of January, we still had a bill, or actually our cash and receivables, so money we have available to pay bills at the end of January exceeded our outstanding bills by $8,657. That's a small amount. At the end of January, we owed for service. This is for payroll. It's a vendor bill that we received from First Service, which is interesting because First Service pays it because they pay all our bills. But it's a bill from First Service, and it's like I said, it's largely for payroll. And at the end of January, we owed them $613,800. This is just a comparison of January 2023, for January 2024 and 25. So you can see that compared to last year, 2024, we're actually doing a lot better out the gate, let's say. This is a graphic that I put on here every month. It shows our relative position, bills to accounts receivable and cash. And you can see, the right-hand column is January, and at the end of January, our total cash and receivables were $1,095,541, and the bills were a little lower. So that's good. Obviously, this is a graphic that is a typical ratio that people use to evaluate sort of the financial position of an entity or an organization. And we really should be at about 2 times our bills. So you can see that our bills are about $1 million. We should be about $2 million in cash. And we're working on things to improve that. Obviously, one of the biggest drains on our monthly financial position has been the losses in excess of budget in food and beverage. And I think most of you know, I hope a lot more know, and everybody knows that we're changing food and beverage management April 1st. And I agree with the Food and Beverage Committee that if we don't give our restaurant a chance, no restaurant in here will succeed. I find it interesting because when people buy a house in here, from what I understand, they say one of the reasons they buy in here is because we have a restaurant and a bar. But unfortunately, a smaller portion of our membership actually comes to the bar or restaurant. So anyway, hopefully, I think we have a little more information on the food and beverage coming up. This just, again, as I said, if you look at the bottom line in the middle column, that's our net for January, $141,952. A lot of areas were under budget. So you can see on the right-hand column, for example, administration was under budget by $32,000, meaning they didn't spend as much. So those are positive. If they're in the black, they're positive variances. So we had a lot of positive variances in January. The utilities is a negative, as you can see there, $16,657. There was sort of an anticipation, or not a sort of, and when we did our budget, we anticipated that we would have the Spectrum contract, which we're negotiating now, in place. That was probably not a good assumption because we're still working on it. We're getting close. We think we may complete that contract. And believe it or not, that may, or will, I shouldn't say may, will reduce our cost for cable TV. So right now we're actually we're better than budget by $100,107. Now this is just a comparison, and this is why I'm not overly positive about our cash position or our financial position, because at the end of January 2024, we actually had $318,000 more in cash and receivables compared to bills than we do, as you can see, for 2025. The right-hand column is 25, and we're about a break even. So, as I said, bringing food and beverage into close to budget, and other things that we do have in progress. So I have to say that we have things in progress that I think are going to improve this. Otherwise, I'd be more concerned. This is the repair and replacement fund. You can see that the assessment, this is part of the monthly dues, $194,150. That is the monthly, that is a top line there on assessment. That is part of the dues that goes into the repair and replacement fund. That's actually down from 2024. In 2024, we put in $220,000 a month. The reason it can be down and the reason we budgeted it lower is because now we will have this reserve and replacement fund income in place for all of 2025, and we're budgeted to receive $554,400. A lot obviously depends on home sales. So our investment income that is, it's 21,074 for the month, but I don't see that as a good representation of actually what our income is, because that's a cash basis or mostly cash basis number, and there's a lot of investments that we have that we purchase in a more complicated way than just the return on the yield or on the coupon rate, so to speak. Our return, you can see there that we've budgeted for 2025, $380,000, and I expect that will come close to that, and that should be, close to a 3.8 to 4% return. Those were our expenditures for January out of the reserve and replacement fund were $113,000, and we're budgeted $3,264,000. Our cash balance in the reserve fund, and remember, this is not money that's just available to pay our bills. This is reserved for replacement of items, mostly, and at the end of January, we had $12,474,840 in that account. This is the other restricted fund we have, capital improvement fund, and there's not much activity there because right now we don't have any plans to spend any money out of that account, and the balance in that account is $1,330,251 at the end of January. As always, I'm always available for email or phone calls, so if you have any questions, feel free to give me a buzz. Anyway, thank you all.
Thank you. Need a motion to review and file the financials?
Make a motion to receive and file.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye. Passes 4-0. Next is a board discussion regarding repurposing of the Cheers Bar. Cheers Bar is the little bar when you first come in to the right that's rarely been used for anything over the years. I think they had a Java Junction coffee shop, which didn't work out, but most of the time it's vacant and provides us with no revenue, no income. So we're contemplating repurposing that so we can generate some additional revenue into the HOA. And so in order to do that, what we need to do is have staff develop a notification to some of the local businesses to make an offer as to what they would like to use that for and how much they would be willing to pay. So some of the ideas have to do with attorneys, real estate, sharing of the office, different concepts. Some of the other communities have done this, and with that same type of area, they've generated about $5,000 a month, or in excess of $50,000 to $60,000 a year revenue. So I would like to make a motion in reference to that. I need a second.
Yeah, I'll second that. And I have a comment, if I may.
Yep.
The idea, I know we talked about repurposing that, and lots of great ideas came, like make it a coffee bar, make it something like that. I think what we're trying to look at is leasing it out so that to a business of some sort that would be a benefit to the community to have in-house. So that's kind of what we're looking at for there. And we're wide open to what kind of business wants to do something like that, which is why we are asking staff to put out feelers. Just see if there's an interest for a business to be on property to do service and business with the community.
Doesn't mean we're entering any contract with anybody. We're just going to check and see what businesses might be interested in leasing that area from us. Any other comments from the board? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes 4-0. Next is the update on the food and beverage operation. And I'm going to have Don Day lead that, because he was, him and Gary were the primary people on the board that did all of the work and homework and all the research in reference to the Compass company coming in here when we actually signed that contract yesterday. So, Don, you're on.
Thank you, Bob. I appreciate Mary Jo's shout out in her presentation, but I'd really like to stress the fact that the board has been working on a number of major projects and contracts. Spectrum, Gary addressed that. This is not a two-person job, and the board has been very, very supportive through this whole process, and it's coming to fruition as a result of the board working together. I just want to clarify that. Last month, we announced and gave a presentation on many of the details and overview of the program, and I was very excited to do that. We had done that pending approval of the contract by the attorney, and that has taken place, and as Bob mentioned, we signed a contract yesterday, so that's going forward with a target date of April 1st launch. That is the plan right now. Compass is putting together an implementation plan to review with us next week to see how that all looks, and we'll keep you advised. But right now, the target date is April 1st. I'd like to talk about communication and governance. We always have challenges with satisfying the communication between the board and the community, and it's important that we do the best we can, and we can always do better. We did have input from residents after the meeting last month that some people were disappointed in the fact that we didn't have a town hall prior to that process. So I'd kind of like to just run through a few things. To be perfectly honest with you, we apologize for that, but we had no idea that that would be something that we really should do, and let me explain why. You know, residents have been telling the board for years that we need to fix the food and beverage losses, and we've been listening to that. And the community elects a board to perform with you guys in mind. What we do is to support you and the community, and in a governance model, the way it works is you vote for a candidates every year, we get elected, and you're authorizing us to take action on your behalf, and that flows down to management and down to the committees. On the reverse side, we're held accountable to that, and that's the way a governance model works. So ultimately, you give us authority, and we come back and we report to you and do the best we can for you. So, you know, the other thing is, as we've been discussing this in open meetings for months, we haven't kept any of this thing quiet, but over all of those months, we've only had one resident speak up in open session and even make a comment regarding food and beverage. You know, communication is a two-way street. We only have 50 people in the room tonight, so hopefully that you share that information and people are looking at it on our social media sites. But, you know, we need your support, and we'll do a better job communicating as best we can. The other thing is, once we received the two bids and signed the non-disclosure agreement, there's very little that we actually could have communicated and discussed with you. We are bound by that agreement to keep those negotiations quiet in executive session. And David Sterling Civil Code actually authorizes us, as one of the 6 items that's allowed to be done in executive session, is to negotiate and develop third-party contracts. So I just wanted to share that, how we got here. Sorry we didn't have a town hall earlier. We honestly didn't think it was anything that residents were interested in doing until the contract was already announced. So what I'd like to do now is kind of go through the process a little bit on how we got down this road from the beginning to a signed contract. On March 16th, the board drafted a letter stating that Sun Lakes and the board was interested in looking at a possible change in management of food and beverage. A team was formed on July 9th and included 2 board members, the member of the Procurement Advisory Committee and a member of the Finance Advisory Committee. But unfortunately, due to a misalignment in objectives of the process, basically how we were going to do this, the team was reorganized with 2 board members and the FAC member. And unfortunately, the Procurement Advisory Committee decided to resign their committee. So we've been working this alone. The team was modified in September to include the 2 board members, Gary and myself, and Steve Von Reich. And obviously, this was all supported by the board in total, and we appreciate their support. We've done extensive due diligence, and negotiations have been ongoing since October 31st. And as Mary Jo mentioned, this presentation of the information for the two companies was presented to the Finance Advisory Committee. They overwhelmingly supported the decision and advised us to go forward with contracting with Compass Hospitality. Just to give you a flavor for some of the work that actually went into due diligence, these are two of the three books that contain documents, contracts, various emails that went back and forth. It also includes details on how we responded to the Procurement Advisory Committee comments and recommendations. When the committee developed an RFP, request for proposal, it was presented to the Procurement Advisory Committee, and they came up with a report on August 15th. The first thing they came up with was a list of 9 comments that they made, and I'll just hit a couple of them just so you can kind of see. And then we did respond to those as we developed the due diligence process. We didn't develop it in the way that it had been hoped by the committee to be done, but every one of the items that was addressed in their comments and in the next page of recommendations was identified and satisfied. Some of the things were comments, confidentiality statement, non-disclosure agreement was signed by both parties. They felt that we needed a scope of work and alcohol license details identified. We not only came up with a scope of work that was developed through the negotiations with the two companies, we've also signed a co-license agreement for the for the new company to be able to use our liquor license. We're not giving up our liquor license. It's ours. It'll always be ours. And basically, they will be managing it under our supervision and consistent with the state code. There was a comment made that the board should dictate the hours of operation. Well, unfortunately, we don't agree. The board does not have the information or the expertise to dictate hours of operation. And then the last one, I just touched base on marketing, staffing, and special events, and catering is missing. Well, through this whole process of dealing with these companies, that has all been developed and identified. They had 5 recommendations to make. They made. One was a mutual non-disclosure agreement that was signed and completed on October 11th. They stated vendor accountability to operational financial requirements. The contract specifies the first year Sun Lake's annual amenity cost and a plan to determine the second year objectives. So that's been done. The vendor should provide a transition plan. Early on, they produced a transition plan, and it's outlined in their proposal on page 78. The financial reporting and insurances should be spelled out. The contract does identify all of these requirements and was reviewed by the Sun Lakes legal firm. The acceptable amenity cost of Sun Lakes needs to be identified. An acceptable first-year amenity cost has been identified, and we'll share that with you in a minute. What I'd like to do is just touch base on a few of the highlights of the contract, where we are not going to go through all the benefits of them and why we think it's a good deal. I just want to hit a few items. We'll discuss the first-year financial projection. That's complete, and it does meet the Sun Lakes 2025 budget, although the timing of it is not going to be in sync because we're not starting until April. I'd like to address the capping of the food and beverage losses, the cash infusion that Compass has offered us as part of the contract. POS system will be funded by Compass, and there's a town hall presentation by Compass Hospitality we'll discuss in a little bit. So when we go through these contracts, and we've reviewed 6 or 7 different versions of the contract as we negotiated terms, but they have done a good job, and the projection is a capping of the amenity cost. And this is a simplified version of all the legal jargon that you have to be an attorney to understand. But we've got it figured out, and we've agreed with a simple language for all of us to follow. Compass projected an aggressive revenue plan the first day, and after reviewing that projection of sales cost for the year, our team suggested that we lower and ramp up the sales for the first 6 months. As been discussed, we needed to get a marketing program in here and get our residents back in using the facility. So we took a little bit more of a conservative approach. But the Sun Lakes budget for 2025 is $696,632. Compass will cap that first year loss as follows. The Sun Lake subsidy is capped at the $692 number. Additional losses up to an additional $106,564 will be covered by Compass. That basically is they would, if they go over, they are willing to give up their management fee plus an additional $70,000 of their cash. Sun Lakes and CCL will split the savings if they come in under budget. So this is a contract and a program that has risk and reward to it. Sun Lakes will provide a 25% bonus to Compass, and Sun Lakes will retain 75% of the savings if we're successful. I think this is very exciting. This is the first time we've had the ability to have any kind of effort to trying to maintain and achieve a budget. They also offered cash to be privileged with the honor of serving us here. Compass has invested up to $380,000 of their cash towards the purchase of infrastructure improvements and enhancements related to the food and beverage operation. These funds can be used to purchase things such as the POS system, new equipment, technology upgrades, dining stations, and other things as we mutually agree to. Right now, the cost of the POS system is coming out of their $380,000 investment. If the funds are not used in year one, any unused funds will carry over to the next year and beyond until exhausted. So this is pretty exciting that they're willing to make this kind of commitment to be here and do a good job. And just to touch base a little bit on the POS system, the name of it is called GEM POS. It's designed with senior hospitality in mind, and it's one of the Jonas Company families of companies. It will take the mobile orders at the table and payments at the table, which should significantly improve the efficiency of labor in getting billing done. It will send the orders directly to the kitchen or the bar before that server actually leaves your table. And it will provide Compass with sales, food, alcohol, and labor costs to go into their Compass Analytics. The house account payments will be reestablished using resident ID cards. I think people are excited about that. This may take a little bit of additional time to get that software fully in place, but we'll keep you informed on the timing of when we expect that. I don't expect it to take place on day one, and we should have a better feel in the next week or two what the expectation of the timing of doing that is. But I think we're all pretty excited about getting our house account back. In summary, I think Compass, I think we all agreed to do this, and we think it's a good thing and a good company, and they're capable, and this is what they do. In that Sun Lakes has no real profitability statistics for our 5 venues. Compass will use this data from the POS system, put it into their analytical software so we can better understand what venues are performing well, which ones need to be changed, how our menu is performing, and things of that such. So the first 6 months are going to be challenging while we install all these new systems and we work to bring, I probably shouldn't have said this way, when we bring old as well as new residents back to our beautiful community. So you know what I mean. The beginning of this implementation is not a magic bullet to immediate success. It will take time to show results, but we're excited about it. And Jason, I think you have one more slide here. Somewhere. We are having a town hall, And as you can see, this is this is the first communication directly from Compass, and we are having that town hall on March 10th at 3 p.m., and it will be scheduled in the ballroom here. They're going to tell you basically who they are, their communication plans, how they're going to address member satisfaction, menu development, and house account relaunch. So we're really excited about that. We hope that everybody comes and has a chance to listen. They're bringing a staff of between 4 and 6 of their senior level management to talk to you, explain to you the program, and answer questions that you may have. So we're pretty excited about this, and see you on March 10th. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is the Bocce Courts. The Bocce Club has submitted a request for the following items for the Bocce Courts. Bocce borders, and they would like to have plastic rather than wooden ones. Cost a little bit more, but they last longer and they're more durable. Picnic benches and the extension of the shade covers. The request has really no estimates or prices, so what I would like to do, I think the requests are pretty valid and necessary. I would like to refer this back to staff to get us some quotes in reference to these 3 items. And I personally intend to vote for them, but I want to know what the cost is.
Do you need that to be a motion, Chris?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that this matter be referred back to staff for pricing.
I'll second that.
Any other comments from the board or from membership? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes 4-0, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Next is the chairperson, the Delegate Assembly has submitted for board consideration a recommendation of the following members for the Delegate Assembly to fill the current vacancies in District 11. If we don't have someone representing District 11, those votes will not count in the upcoming election. Lori Hazelton will be the delegate, and Saucy Hyatt will be the alternate delegate. I need a recommendation in reference to that.
I'll make that motion to appoint Lori Hazelton as the delegate and Sosie Hyatt as the alternate delegate.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Thank you, ladies.
Yeah, sorry about that name pronunciation there.
Something
Next
she
is Corral. Management received a letter from Bruce Dillis, president of the Corral. They're requesting permission to place a banner at each gate for the upcoming shows in May and December. I'd like to have the banners up for 3 weeks prior to their shows. Need a motion in reference to that?
I'll make a motion to approve those banners as we have been doing with the clubs this year. Next year, there may be a change on location, but I make a motion to approve this request.
I'll second that. Any comments from the board or from membership? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Lastly, the chair of the Safety Advisory Committee requested the board to revisit their recommendation from last May regarding having a supervisor for Securitas. I think what we need here is a little bit more information as far as the scope of the work, the cost, what that would entail, and whether or not we can also get some more cooperation and visiting from our local Banning Police Department. So I would like to pursue this, but I think we need some more information in reference to that. I'll need a motion on that.
I guess I make a motion to table this at this time for more information on the subject.
Yes, but tabling will not be meaning it's just put on the back table. It's going to mean it's going to be pursued. We just don't have all the information we need now to make an appropriate decision, because I think this is very, very important.
Can I?
Do I have a second on that?
No. Right.
Just to table it and
No.
Okay.
Direct staff to work with the safety committee on this issue and bring it back to the board.
And I will make that motion to direct staff. I move that.
Okay.
I'd like to rescind my motion.
And I will make a motion to direct staff to work with Safety Committee to get a little more detail, a little more information, some costing, et cetera.
I will second that. Any comments from the board or from membership? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passes 4-0. Next is board member comments. Remember to please, homeowner comments, Lynn board. Homeowner comments, please keep your comments to 3 minutes and keep them appropriate and respectful. I know that there's a election coming up, but we need to be fair and proper with everybody that's competing. First is Ken Johnson, Birdie Drive.
Ken Johnson, Birdie Drive. Master Board, FSR Management, residents here and watching on Channel 97. I'd like to provide some constructive feedback and maybe some new ideas in 3 areas. 1, Spectrum contract. I wish we'd have some resident input of what you're doing. I hear 250 to 700K door fees can help our cash flow. I've just heard that cable costs are going to be reduced. Does that mean we're going to have less content in our cable? I just think we ought to have a little bit of what are the key things that you're using us to get your contract, because we're the ones that Spectrum really wants to do stuff with. So are we going to have less Wi-Fi? We're going to have to go to streaming. Some people may not have TVs. So it would be helpful if you would give a stance of what you're negotiating for Spectrum with us. Hopefully the cash flow issue of receiving some of these funds will help, but have we really worked on the issue itself and how to improve it? I've not really heard any, except I need the money to help our cash flow. Glad to hear that you have a contract with Compass, and I appreciate the presentation that was done today. Excellent. I think we ought to have a hit list of things that need to be done quickly to help ensure Compass is successful. I think the HVAC issue needs to be looked at not only in the restaurant and the lounge, the whole community. You said you're doing a review. The doors that you have in the restaurant on Saturday night when I was there and spending my one-time-a-month fee that you'd like to have, my wife couldn't open the door with her walker and another gentleman, and I had to get up to help the other gentleman through the door. You need to look at that. That's not nice. The door is heavy, it blocks sound, but people with walkers can't get through there. My wife was disappointed in that particular setting. I think that Gary asked about why don't people, they say they want a restaurant in a community. I did the same when I came here, but when the service is no good, the quality of the food, you lose interest in coming. And I think that's been a big part. So hopefully with this new setting, the expectations can get back up. I think that in the interim, if you want to keep things rolling and make people happy, we should have happy hour extended to Friday and Saturday. You ought to look at having the same type of content and making people happy as they're waiting for the new vendor to come in and improve stuff. So contract performance expectations, I heard that you're going to have that. I think it needs to be really worked on, and we need to stay on top of it and give us a high level to the community of what we're doing so that we know we're successful. I think you have a challenge to meet some of the revenue goals, and I like to see everybody be successful. So last thing is dealing with money. Hopefully I'll come back at the next meeting since I'm running out of time, and we will talk about that later. Have a good day.
Thank you. Next is Michelle Walter.
Good afternoon again, Michelle Walter. I am doing community awareness this time. So unfortunately, I was having Firewise come in this next Tuesday from 1 to 3. He was called away to San Francisco, Sacramento. So he will not be here. However, I did get Riverside County Probation Department. They are going to be coming out and giving you information on what the Riverside County Probation Department actually does. I'm also going to have the Homeless to Work program, Opportunity Village, Jeffrey Platt. He will give a presentation. and also Faith in Action on what they do and how it can help our community, the homeless, houseless. So that is going to be a change. So Firewise will be the following month, which will be April 1st. And then this Tuesday, again, it's going to be the Probation Department, Opportunity Village, and Faith in Action. So just to let you know, and everybody out there in TV land, that it's not going to be Firewise this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comment from membership? Board comments? Oh, I didn't see him.
If you'll make your way up to the microphone, yeah, thank you.
The food and beverage financial situations. Different people I've met over the years that lived in a community similar to ours, on their HOA, the monthly bill, there's a restaurant charge of a small charge, $5 or $10, that went into their account so that when you went to the restaurant, that was deducted from their bill. Do you think that would be any help here to get people to go to the restaurant?
Thank you. Yeah, we have been considering it a type of fee like that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'm Ron Dietl. I live on Nicholas, and I had food and beverage comments also. I like the flatbread pizza here, and they seem to change the restaurant, and all of a sudden I couldn't get them anymore. So I was told that flatbread pizzas were only available in the Sandwich at lunchtime. I used to get them out on the patio, or I used to get them in here on dance nights and things like that. And I asked the staff why, and they had no idea. They just said that they weren't available all of a sudden. You know, we couldn't. So it doesn't make any sense to me why I want to buy food here and I want to support food and beverage, but I can't buy the food that I want to buy, but it's available in another room and it's the same kitchen and it goes 3 different ways. So that doesn't seem to make any sense to me. Also, the prices don't seem consistent sometimes with the drinks. Sometimes I'll order a martini and it's $7, and sometimes it's $9, and sometimes it's $12. I don't know if that's, you know, sometimes I order a Tanqueray, and sometimes the you know, just in the bar or whatever, the house martini or whatever kind of thing. So I can see a difference there, but sometimes I'm ordering the house martini and I still get a different price. As for the system of it, it seems to take a long time for anybody to ring things up when they're doing food and service beverage. So that slows your service down and causes problems with everybody else. It seems like I order a martini and it's boop, 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 boop on their screen. They got to push 20 buttons to get it done, you know. So it doesn't seem right. Also, when you've had things outside, like the Wi-Fi doesn't work sometimes. I've been out there for the 4th of July for the parade, and you're trying to order a Bloody Mary or something, and it's like, well, we can't serve you because our system is down. It isn't working or something like that, you know. So I've seen that 2 or 3 times in the past. So there are some things with food and beverage that don't seem to make sense, and you know, the company, they're hurting themselves, you know, just by not offering the foods and things that people would like to buy, you know. So I used to get the Cobb salad here too, and I like the Cobb salad, but then they made changes to it, and it doesn't seem to have the same ingredients as your standard Cobb salad. They call it the Cobb, but it's not a Cobb in my book, kind of thing, you know. So you know, it's great that we have Brussels sprouts. I kind of order them, but I order them at my table, and other people don't like the smell of Brussels sprouts or that I'm ordering them. So, and I'd rather have the pizza anyhow, where I can share it with people, you know. So thank you. Appreciate those.
Thank you. Comments from the board? Gary?
Well, I'm going to sound like repeating myself, but we have a new food and beverage company coming in April 1st, the town hall on March 10th. I hope I see everybody there. We can't have a restaurant in our community if nobody comes into the restaurant. So I plead with you to give it a try, give it 2 tries. I've been working on this. We've been working on this since May of last year. And I don't want to talk too long, but I believe that we're breaking some ground as an association in the sense that Compass is not a traditional association management company. They're a food and beverage specialized company. That's what they do. They're located out of the UK. They do $31 billion in food and beverage. So give them a try. Tell your friends. Bring your whole neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. Don?
I don't have anything more to add. I think we're all pretty excited about where we're at. We're really proud that we came together as a full board to get this thing done. And please come use the restaurant when we get it rolling. Thank you.
Thank you. Beverly?
I'm going to change the, excuse me, my sinuses, I don't know if anybody else is here with me. They're horrible. I'm going to change the focus a little bit and say Charity Week is coming, June 2nd through 8th. It's going to be a little more toned down than it was before COVID, but it's all together in 1 week. We'll have golf, we'll have the pancake breakfast, we'll have the helicopter ball drop. And this year we have some exciting news about that ball drop. We have found a pilot with a helicopter who's donating his time. Yay! So well done, Janice, thank you. But please consider being part of that. We do have room for more volunteers. It's a great way to get to know your community. It's a great way to give back. It's a great way to have fun, because we do that for sure. So mark your calendars, June 2nd through the 8th, and we will start off with a happy hour kickoff in the ballroom and move on from there. So just wanted to say, if you're interested in helping out, our next meeting is March 14th, which is the second Friday of the month. It's in the North Clubhouse at 1 o'clock, and we will be going into more detail about everything that is happening. Things are starting to come together. I know there are some committees that are just getting up and running and need some help as well. So if you want to help out, come see us. Thank you.
Thank you. You know, I've been a resident here for 21 years, and almost every year the same issue and the same complaints have been coming up, as that is food and beverage, that we've been way over budget, and complaints about, you know, different things related to it. So finally, we have now a company that specializes in food and beverage, and they're going to be starting on April 1st. So I want to thank the board and the committee and everybody that's been involved in finding the Compass Group, and I want everybody to come out and support. And if you have any questions or concerns, don't forget, you know, we have a big town hall here on the 10th from 3 to 5, and they'll be here to answer any questions or concerns that you have. And speaking of coming out, the main thing is that election's coming up. We have a forum. So don't forget, the forum is going to be here at 4 o'clock on the 5th, one week from today. And that's going to be important, so you can ask them questions, listen to the candidates, and make a determination as to who you want to lead you in the future, what their vision is for the future, and that you agree with their particular point of view and vision. So come on out on that date. One other thing I'd like to mention is I just recently received a complaint. I think we all did, a complaint letter from one of our members, a 9-point complaint letter outlining certain issues and concerns that this person had. And a couple of them were actually valid. You know, the problem is that you need to use message to management. You know, if you have something bothers you and irritates you, and you see something needs to be repaired or addressed, send out, the message to management. Don't wait until the end of the year, election season, and write out all these things, because it may be an issue in the election, but it's not going to be immediately addressed. We want it addressed in a timely manner. That's why we developed the message to management. And this community is based upon volunteers. We're a volunteer-driven and run community. So if you have a lot of concern and you're really interested, volunteer. Get involved in some capacity, whether it's a committee or delegate or something like that. That would be the best thing to do. But the main thing is, if you don't have the time to do that, fill out the message to management. Let them know so they can address it on a timely manner. Thank you very much.
Bob, can I say one more thing? I'm sorry. I wanted to say, and I forgot to say this about food and beverage, that Compass has been here almost every day the last few weeks. Before we even signed the contract, they have been here visiting, observing, and the other issue I wanted to mention is that they've interviewed all of our current employees, and they told us this morning that maybe other than one person who is asking to move on, they are going to hire most, if not all, the employees. But the point is that they've even been spending time up front getting ready for this transition before we even signed a contract with them, which I find is extraordinary. So anyway, thank you.
Need a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
I second. All in favor? Aye. Meeting adjourned. Thank you very much for coming out today.